flag on the play for White, but ended up being a lot of extracurricular activity on this play as Gronk was penalized for a hit on Tre'Davious White. People are saying was a dirty one. Seen the play yet? What were your initial?
I have not seen it. I'm looking for it now as we speak.
It looked like Gronk. After the play, sort of kind of body checks Tre'Davious White with his shoulder. Dirty play after the fact. White was shaking up pretty good. It may have left this game as a result. That'll be a very much discussed play. Frustration got the better of Gronk there in a major way. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. More independent agents sell Progressive Insurance than any other brand. Find an agent at Progressive.com. Now that is Progressive. If you look at this pass, you'll see the play from Gronk coming up at some point here. It did not look like a play. Pretty ugly one there by Gronk. We'll wonder if he could potentially be facing a fine from the NFL. How about Jimmy Garoppolo? How about that, man? Jimmy Garoppolo has the San Francisco 49ers.
Jimmy G
lined up for a potential win over the Chicago Bears. They now have a lead 15-14 after a late field goal by Robbie Gould, who also used to play for the Chicago Bears. 24-yard field goal, 15-14. Impressive. Probably comes down to a miracle on this kickoff return here. What a strong start for Jimmy Garoppolo in his first start as a 49er.
And really, if you think about the situation he's coming into, I mean, there's two sides of it. So I don't want to say there was any pressure on him.
Yep.
But this is why everybody wanted to see this game. They wanted to see what Jimmy Garoppolo was. They wanted to see what kind of quarterback he was. Is this a guy that we can hang our hat on? And I think he showed that through and through all day today. And this is just the beginning. I say all the time how hard it is to learn Kyle Shanahan's whole offense, to get the little nuances, because it is such a detailed offense that I can guarantee you he doesn't have a full grasp of yet. But given an off season, given the rest of the remainder of this season to build on it, he's going to be special, man. And we've seen so much terrible quarterback play, Field. I feel like me and you have become kind of experts.
In bad quarterback play?
Yes, we know it when we see it. It's easy to identify. It's easy to identify good quarterbacking and bad quarterbacking.
Yep.
And we watch this game all day, and the entire time he has seemed like a guy that has lived up to the high expectations.
He sure has, and it's a breath of fresh air for them as they now have a win after a 14-play, 86-yard drive results and a field goal by Robbie Gould. 14-play, 86-yard drive. And I think the rest of his teammates are he's going to quickly become the most popular guy in that locker room.
Oh, yeah, not just in that locker room, on that coast. 49er fans everywhere drinking all night to Jimmy G being in the house.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm with you. San Francisco seems to have found themselves a quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. Chiefs and Jets feels like the best game of this afternoon going on right now, Hawk, in terms of the back-and-forth action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, Josh McCown has played great all day. You know, that's the thing about, like, Josh doesn't get enough credit, and I get it. He's not a future guy. He's not a guy you want to build the franchise around at 38 years old. But he keeps these guys in every single football game, it feels like.
Yeah, it's really, listen, he has been so good for them throughout the year. Do you feel like he's a player that you could reinvest in if you're the Jets, or do you think he probably is somebody else's starting quarterback next year?
No, I don't know. It depends on where Josh is, and having conversations. Obviously, me and Josh have a relationship. I think he's a guy that if I'm the Jets, I keep him around.
Yep.
Because he's a guy with no ego. He's not the guy that's going to be like, no, I'm not coming back if I'm not starting. No, he has no problem mentoring your future guy.
No doubt about that.
If you want to bring him in as a starter or even as a backup to help whoever you decide is your next generation guy, the guy who's going to take your franchise from here on out, he's the guy that can do that. And why wouldn't you want to keep him around? Because look, we're literally watching them drive down the field again for another score.
Right on cue, Jermaine Kearse hauls in a pass that he rips for about 45 or so yards down to about the 5-yard line of the Kansas City Chiefs. So that game certainly far from over in the Meadowlands. Couple of notes here. The Vikings have won 14-9 over the Atlanta Falcons. How about that balanced effort, man? Wow.
And look, we talked about the Vikings all year, and it came down to, I think, a late missed field goal.
Matt Bryant missed a field goal in the fourth quarter for the Atlanta Falcons, which obviously changes the dynamic of the game. If it's a 14-12 game, you're playing for the field goal as opposed to the touchdown. Wow.
Right. But
he's super reliable. Yeah.
And look, we talked about the Vikings, and I've talked about them. They are my favorite team in the NFL.
Yep.
Like, just because they pick up all the slack everywhere. And Case Keenum, he went from being, last year, Case Keenum had the worst total quarterback rating to this year having the best total QBR.
Yep.
And I think that has a lot to do with the guys that are around him and this Vikings football team that just finds a way. And Mike Zimmer. Credit to Mike Zimmer.
Credit to Mike Zimmer, who you obviously played for, obviously on the same side of the ball, but you know how tough and singularly minded Mike Zimmer is to win, and not worry about the excuses. Finding a way. 10-2 Minnesota Vikings. And Case Keenum plays great. Case Keenum was awesome again.
Incredible.
2 touchdown passes. Looks like a legit MVP candidate to me. Case Keenum, 25 for 30, 227 yards, 2 touchdowns. Thoughts there?
I mean, he's in that conversation where you got to pay the man. Yeah. Someone has to pay this guy.
Someone's going to have to pay him. That's right. That's right. By the way, a further glance of the Gronk play, like it's pretty odd. It's pretty odd. Like
that's
a dirty play. Dirty play by Gronk, and it could result in some sort of penalty from the NFL, whether that's a suspension. I don't know about a fine. I don't know about a suspension. Hard to tell. Not like a fight.
It's hard. But the guy got hurt. The fact that he got hurt and left the game.
Yep.
So I think that plays into it. That's significant because this is the image of your league.
Yep.
And if you got guys throwing dirty hits that result in players getting injured, and also if he has to miss time, then you maybe have the conversation that, you might have to miss a little time too.
Hey, the Patriots' next play, Monday Night Football, next Monday, right here, of course, on ESPN. That game is in Miami against the Dolphins, a team they played just this past week. This is the time of the year where you see some teams going back and forth, playing a bunch in just a couple of weeks. So we got a lot of action taking place right now. The Jaguars are coasting to a victory, but a good game going on between the Titans and also the Houston Texans. The Titans looking to go to 8-4, which would keep them on pace with the Jaguars, who, again, are less than 2 minutes away from improving to 8-4. They have been really, really impressive today in that game against the Colts, who have got nothing going. Like, the story of the Colts season is going to be looking ahead to next season. So, a lot of action going on right now. The Jets and the Chiefs, that's the game we're going to be following to the finish. 31-30, the Jets trail the Chiefs, but at the moment, Chandler Catanzaro is lining up for a 4th field goal of the day. He has been busy at just a 21-yard attempt. So if he hits this shot, which he does, a little closer than it should have been.
That was close.
But yes, he does put them up 33-31. So less than 4 minutes to go. The Chiefs, there's a flag on the play, so we'll keep you updated on what happens there. But with less than 4 minutes to go, it looks like it'll be the Jets leading the Chiefs 33-31. We've also got overtime in Green Bay and Tampa Bay. One of those weird games, Hawk, not a lot to pay attention to into that game. But Aaron Rodgers could return in Week 15. We'll get into that and more. Also, all the latest on college football playoff news. Who's in, who's out, and who should be feeling a little bit salty right now after the College Football Playoff Selection Committee has made its choices. Operation Football on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Operation Football on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. And guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
Now this is a great present. At Metro PCS, get a year of Amazon Prime on us when you switch and get a free Samsung Galaxy J7 Prime with a select plan. Stream your favorite movies, TV shows, music, and much more, all at your fingertips. Metro PCS. Wireless figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions. 1 year of Amazon Prime has a $99 value.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I'm so happy, I feel like I can fly.
Disclaimer, you will not be able to fly by switching to Geico. This is against the laws of physics and nature. If you find yourself flying, please seek professional and or medical help immediately. In the unlikely event you find yourself flying, you might be a superhero, or a pigeon, or a superhero named Pidgewoman, who was bitten by a radioactive pigeon. If you are indeed Pidgewoman, Geico retains all licensing publishing rights in the event Pidgewoman the movie becomes a top-grossing Hollywood blockbuster.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Let's see here. Fire protection?
Check.
Uniforms, mats, and restroom products?
Check.
First aid cabinets and safety products?
Check.
Great! So it sounds like we're ready to go.
No. When I said check, I meant we still need to check on all those things.
Just call Cintas. They can handle all of it. It's what they do.
Okay. Call Cintas. Check. Got it.
Oh, I'm ready!
Learn how Cintas can help you get ready for the workday. Visit Cintas.com.
Wendy's Double Stack is back in the 4 for $4 with a quarter pound of fresh, never frozen beef, which means you can get the Double Stack, the Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, or the Crispy Chicken BLT. along with 4 nuggets, small fries, and a small drink, all for just $4. And it's only around for a limited time, so you better hurry and get to Wendy's today. That's a deal so good, it can't be beat. No, I said beat, not beep.
Sorry, man. Not valid in Alaska and Hawaii. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S. and Canada.
Sometimes the best seats in the house are above it. In college football, that's the Goodyear blimp. And for more than 60 years, we've seen what it takes to be worthy. It takes toughness, dedication, and perseverance. Because seasons aren't measured by wins and losses, but by heart. Some call it hard work, determination, or grit. We call it blimp-worthy. Goodyear, official sponsor of the College Football Playoff.
Welcome to Belk, official retail department store of the SEC. With department stores in the Southeast, we get your passion. We know it's more than a game, it's a way of life, and part of the modern Southern lifestyle we deliver every day. At Belk, you'll find new looks from the best brands like Michael Kors, Fry, Free People, Under Armour, and more. All at great prices you'll love, the fashion you desire, the value you deserve. That's modern Southern style. Experience it today in store or at belk.com.
Blue Moon is brewed with Valencia orange peel and a touch of coriander. It's a creative twist on a Belgian-style wheat ale for a taste that shines brighter. Taste responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Do you need a car? Been shopping only to be turned down because of bad credit, low credit, no credit, bankruptcy, or divorce? Guess what? Today's your lucky day, because now you can buy a car, truck, or SUV, just about any vehicle. It's true. Bad credit doesn't matter. No credit doesn't matter. Bankruptcy or divorce, it just doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, your job is your ticket to your new vehicle. We're Auto Credit Express, and we've helped thousands of people just like you. Antonio H. told us, great company, got me connected, and the day I went in, I drove off in the car I wanted. 100% worth your time. Need a car? Get started now and drive off as early as today. Just go to oneignoremyscore.com right now. That's www.1ignoremyscore.com. Auto financing the easy way. Oneignoremyscore.com. Get started today. Auto financing the easy way.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
On the NFL scoreboard right now, games in progress. Less than 3 minutes to go. The Ravens lead the Lions 44-20. The Titans lead the Texans 17-10 with less than 5 minutes to go. More fourth quarter scores. The Chiefs lead the Jets 31-30. The Dolphins have a 35-9 lead on the Broncos. Final minute in Jacksonville, the Jaguars lead the Colts 30-10. And in overtime, the Packers and Buccaneers are tied at 20. 3 finals. The Vikings win their 8th in a row. They're 10-2. They beat the Falcons 14-9. Patriots win their 8th in a row. They're 10-2. They beat the Bills 23-3. And the 49ers used 5 field goals to get their second win of the year. They beat the Bears 15-14. The college football playoff selections today. Clemson, number 1. They'll play 4th-ranked Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. Oklahoma, number 2. They'll play 3rd-ranked Georgia in the Rose Bowl. ESPN's Paul Feinbaum.
Give this committee credit for the second year. They went away from the pack last year by putting, guess who? Ohio State in, which wasn't the conference champion. This year they went against that. It was a loss that kept Ohio State out. Last year it was a win. For this moment, it is a very important moment, because I think if this committee had gone with Ohio State, as deserving as their resume is, there's the word deserving, but they weren't the best team, I think they would have caught a lot of flack.
Alabama gets in ahead of 5th-ranked Ohio State. The Sugar Bowl, the Rose Bowl, and the National Championship game, all on ESPN and here on ESPN Radio.
Mike Golick here. Coming up on Monday, once the dust settles on championship weekend, we talk top 4, plus reaction to a key Week 13 in the NFL. Golick and Wingo, Monday, 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN 2.
This is is Operation Football with Field Yates and Andrew Hawkins on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
That's right, it is Operation Football on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. His name is Andrew Hawkins. He played for both the Bengals and the Browns and then signed with the Patriots briefly this offseason. My name is Field Yates. We roll along past the 4 o'clock hour, halfway through our show today, and lots of college football reaction. Kirby Hocutt, College Football Playoff Committee. Nope. Is that right? Coming on the show. Bill Hancock, I take that back. Bill Hancock will be joining us at 4:15. Looking forward to that interview. In the meantime, got a bunch of updates here in the late portion of the early games. The Jets have basically been gifted like 8 opportunities to try and score against the Kansas City Chiefs. The current status, 31-30, 3rd and goal from about the 6-inch line. The Jets are looking to get ahead of the Chiefs with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go, and they have done so on the power of a quarterback sneak from Josh McCown, who appeared to have crossed the goal line. The officials have not yet called it. Yes, they have. It is a touchdown. The Jets now lead 36-31. They will go for 2, of course. By the way, how about this? Aaron Jones gets his first carry of the day. He had just returned from injury, right? He's the backup running back, or the running back for the Packers.
Right.
He gets his first carry of the day in overtime. It goes for 20 yards and a touchdown. The Packers beat the Buccaneers 26-20 in overtime. Wow. All of a sudden, the Packers are floating right there, 6-6.
Got a little momentum going there in Green Bay.
That's right. By the way, here are the details of that score from Al Gatillo via
Chiefs at Jets.
All right, guys, 2:10 to go here in the game. The Jets now with the 36-31 lead as Josh McCown runs it in from 1 yard out. They are attempting to go for the 2-point conversion here. The Chiefs seem to be imploding. 2 big penalties about 10 minutes ago as we were sitting here. The Jets were lining up for a field goal, but the Chiefs get called for a penalty on the field goal. That extends the drive. And then when you just thought that the Chiefs had stopped it again, they get called for defensive holding. And now, with 2:15 to go here, as they put 5 seconds back on the clock, Jets have the 36-31 lead, guys.
Thank you for that, Al. So 2:15 to go, as Al just said. We'll see whether or not the Chiefs can find some magic and whether they're going to need a touchdown to tie the game or a touchdown to win the game, pending this 2-point conversion right here. So, big story on one of these late games, of course, Hawk, is that Eli Manning will not start for the New York Giants. Everybody knows what decision the team made. Your reaction when you heard that Eli Manning got benched, what did you think to yourself?
I hated it. I hated it with every fiber in my bone.
Okay.
And look, I'm not going to sit up here and lie. I'm biased. Yep. I like Eli Manning. I've been a fan of Eli Manning. I just felt like as a future Hall of Famer with 2 Super Bowl wins for your franchise, for you to make this decision at this point in the season, at this juncture where the organization is, with all the things that played into the fact that you did not do well this year, to make him the scapegoat, I felt was a cop-out.
Is that what this was? Did they make him a scapegoat?
I felt like they did. Now I understand. Has he been playing great? No. Yep. Let's look at his weapons. What kind of weapons is he playing with? Right?
Very few.
Very few. Few. And on top of that, besides the fact he's not playing with a lot of weapons, there's a ton of situations that you did not address as it pertains to this football team on the defensive side of the ball. Now, I'm not going to place everything on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not going to place it on the fact that all of his wide receivers got hurt in one game because they weren't even playing well before that. But I will say this. At the juncture we are at in the season, and as I'm not saying you can't transition away from Eli Manning. I just don't think this was the way to do it. I felt like it was a slap in the face for a person who is giving you everything that he's had in this franchise. And the result of that has been 2 world championships.
Yep.
I felt like this was, hey, we're going to basically paint this picture as if it's your fault.
That's the problem here, is that like it feels like there are 2 separate stories here. One is that a quarterback was struggling, and when you struggle and your team is 2-9, like that stuff happens, right?
Yep.
Like you make it.
Hello, Dad. That's a big phone. Oh, my phone.
You built a flame that warmed my heart, but your lying and cheating has torn us apart. And I'm moving on.
Guess what I just got? Hello, Dad. That's a big phone. Oh, my phone.
You built a flame that warmed my heart, but your lying and cheating has torn us apart. And I'm moving on.
Guess what I just got? Hello, Dad. That's a big phone. Oh, my phone.
You built a flame that warmed my heart, but your lying and cheating has torn us apart. And I'm moving on.
Guess what I just got? Hello, Dad. That's a big phone.
That's an up to 6-year unlimited mileage warranty, letting you drive as confidently as you would in a brand new vehicle. And even with past credit issues, you'll still get the status you deserve and the value you expect. BMW of Springfield, 391 Route 22 East, a celebrity motor car company. Financing and leasing available by BMW Financial Services.
Hi, football fans. This is Director Jared Maples with the New Jersey Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness. It's our mission to protect New Jersey with our federal, state, and local partners. Of course, nobody knows our communities better than the people who live there. That's where you can help. If you see something that you suspect is out of the ordinary, report it. Together, we can keep our state safe. Remember, if you see something, say something. To learn more about what to look for, visit njhomelandsecurity.gov.
You can always count on the crisp, refreshing taste of Bud Light, just like you can always count on Just-in-Time Jane. She's rescued you from more bad dates than you want to remember. Close-talking Clyde, lied about his height Larry, and lest we forget, Whispering Walt. He was probably a nice guy if you only heard a single word he said. Just-in-Time Jane is famous among friends. She deserves a Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB St. Louis, Missouri.
Jets fans, don't miss your chance to win a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Enter the Porsche Drive of a Lifetime sweepstakes, and you could be heading to Los Angeles for a weekend with Jets legend Kerry Rhodes. Winner will receive round-trip mint flights courtesy of JetBlue, brand new luggage courtesy of Victorinox Swiss Army, and an unforgettable trip to the Porsche Experience Center, where you'll test your skills in a 90-minute on-track driving experience featuring the latest Porsche vehicles. Head to nyjets.com/Porsche for more information and to enter to win this once-in-a-lifetime trip.
Insurance fraud costs every New Jersey family $1,300 every year. Stop being a victim. Report fraud at njinsurancefraud.org. And go one-on-one with players and coaches as they prepare for each week. Don't miss game moments. An interview with head coach Todd Bowles and more. CBS every Sunday morning at 11:30. It's Jets Flight Plan. 2:15 to go in the fourth quarter. I'm Bob Wischusen upstairs. Marty Lyons soon will be making his way downstairs, but Marty, for now, with 2:15 to go, there is a lot that could happen as the Jets lead 38-31. Alex Smith about to get the football back, needing a touchdown to tie. No timeouts left.
Well, the big thing right now, the Jets cannot beat themselves.
PCS.
You know what? If Kansas
Amazon
City is
Prime
able to
on
move
us.
the ball
When you
down
switch, you get a free
and
Samsung
get a
Galaxy
touchdown and
J7
tie
Prime
this
with a
one
select
up, hey,
plan.
more
Stream your
power
favorite
to them.
movies,
But don't
TV
help
shows,
them.
music,
Do not
and
commit
much
any
more.
penalties.
All at your fingertips. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions. 1 year of Amazon Prime has a $99 value.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I've never felt more alive.
Disclaimer, Geico cannot guarantee you will feel more alive. You either possess functioning respiratory and circulatory systems, or you do not, or you are a zombie. If you are indeed a brain-starved zombie, and you would like to save money on car insurance, the Geico legal team applauds your excellent life choices, even in your shambling afterlife. But we strongly encourage you to visit Geico.com or download the Geico app. Please stay a minimum of 500 feet away from our large and presumably delicious, delicious brains.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Hi, I'm Darla from Cintas.
Oh, thank goodness you're here. We have so much to do. I need fire extinguishers, right?
We'll place them for you and be out for regular inspection.
Great. And what about my new hires?
We'll get them into
Amazon
uniforms and
Prime
keep
on
them
us.
looking
When you
sharp.
switch, you get a free Samsung Galaxy J7 Prime with a select plan.
It is now,
Stream your favorite
and so are the
movies,
restrooms.
TV shows,
Wow,
music,
Cintas really
and
seems
much
to know
more.
what we need.
All at
You
your
said
fingertips. Metro PCS. Wireless.
Learn how
Figured out.
Cintas can help you get
Coverage
ready
not
for the
available in
workday.
some areas.
Visit
Sales tax not included.
Cintas.com.
Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and
Wendy's
conditions.
Double Stack
1 year
is
of
back
Amazon
in the
Prime
4
has a
for
$99
$4
value.
with a quarter pound of fresh, never frozen beef.
What's
Which
good,
means you
Stephen
can
A?
get the double stack,
Do you
the Junior
understand
Bacon
that Klay
Cheeseburger,
Thompson,
or the Crispy Chicken BLT,
the son of our
along with
colleague
4
here
nuggets,
at
small fries,
710
and a small
ESPN
drink,
LA,
all for
Michael
just $4.
Thompson? Do y'all
And it's
understand
only
what y'all are
around for a
watching when
limited
y'all are
time,
watching?
so
Are you ready
better
for this,
hurry
new
and get
now?
to Wendy's today.
Are you ready for this,
That's
Jonathan
the
and
deal so
Kat?
good, it
Do y'all
can't be
understand that
beat.
Klay Thompson may end up
No, I
winning
said
the whole
beat,
thing?
not beat.
Are we
Sorry,
really
man.
truly
Not
appreciate
valid in
it?
Alaska
We
and
know
Hawaii.
that Steph
Fresh beef
Curry
available in the
and
contiguous
Kevin
U.S.
Durant.
and Canada.
I mean, they're just too phenomenal. But do you understand that in Klay Thompson, you're actually looking at a Hall of Famer somewhere down the line? He's one of the greatest shooters we've ever seen. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter on the planet. He's the greatest shooter I've ever seen in the history of basketball. And guess what? Klay Thompson might be
Operation
too.
Football on ESPN Radio.
This brother's lethal, and he's your
ESPN
third
app.
option.
And how about
The
this?
brother doesn't miss.
An update here. By the way, we'll have Bill Hancock, Executive Director of the College Football Playoff.
But you know what I'm saying.
The Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.
Has been ejected for the game after throwing a penalty into the stands. It turns out he was not ejected. He just left the stadium. Left the field, I should say. Unclear as to whether or not Marcus Peters will return when that will happen. But for now, it appears he was not ejected. Operation Football on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. I'm not sure that makes it any better, though, Hawk.
No,
An update. By the way, we'll have Bill Hancock,
It does kind
Executive
of
Director of the
probably play
College
into
Football
our
Playoff.
conversation about
We
Revis
hope
that we had
momentarily.
earlier.
In the meantime, this is bizarre.
Yep.
How about this?
It's a
I
position
mentioned
on
that
that
Marcus
team that could use a
Peters
little leadership.
had been ejected from the
no
game
doubt about
after
that.
throwing a penalty. Marcus Peters, a player that, as we know earlier on this year, involved in that incident. It turns out he was not ejected. We know he just left the stadium. Maturity has been an issue for him in the field, I should say, for him in the past. Unclear as to whether or not Marcus Peters will return. Fallout is when that will happen. But for now, it's very unclear where this winds up for instead the Chiefs cornerback. But for now, left the field. So I'm not sure it makes it any better though, Hawk. He's back on the field. He's not on the field.
It does
the good
kind
news
of
is the Chiefs have a
probably
chance to
play
tie
into
the
our
game.
conversation about Revis that we had earlier.
Is the score there with about 2 minutes to go.
It's a position on that team that could use a little leadership.
All right, we'll keep things rolling. We have the beginning of the Chargers and the Browns game. The notable storyline there, as we know earlier on this year, involved in that incident, makes his debut. We know into the NFL. Maturity has been an issue for 3 years gone. What are your expectations for Josh? We'll see what the end of your reaction fallout is for this back on the field. Someone that you obviously know. It's very unclear where this lines up for the Chiefs cornerback. But for now, the good news is he's back on the field. He's not on the field. Actually, the good news is the Chiefs have a chance to tie the game. It's 38-31 is the score there. It's about 2 minutes to go in this game. What a bizarre situation. All right.
Yeah.
We'll keep things rolling here. We have the beginning of the Chargers and the Browns game. And the notable storyline there is that Josh Gordon makes his re-debut into the NFL after 3 years gone. What are your expectations for Josh, and what was your reaction to hearing that he is back on the field? Someone that you obviously know from your time in Cleveland.
Well, my expectations are high. I have high expectations, and maybe that's not fair. You can't expect a guy who's been away from the game for almost 3 years to come out and be the Randy Moss for your franchise, but he is such a special talent. I've seen him do such amazing things, and I know he had such ability that I expect him to significantly change this franchise. Change not the franchise as a whole. I mean, but this football team, for their on-field product, I expect him to contribute to that significantly because he is so special. I'm telling you, you can't sit here and tell me, and this I'm just trying to paint the picture for our listeners. If I told you that Julio Jones got traded to the Browns tomorrow,
okay,
would you expect that offense to be better?
Yes.
Would you expect that team to do better?
Yep.
This is the kind of ability that Josh Gordon has, and that's why my expectations are so high.
We go right now to the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and we are happy to be joined by Bill Hancock, the executive director of the College Football Playoff. Bill, obviously the big decision that everybody was wondering about going into today was Alabama versus Ohio State. How close of a call was this for the playoff committee to decide to put the Crimson Tide into the playoff and have Ohio State not a part of the playoff?
Well, the committee decided that Alabama was unequivocally one of the best 4 teams. And that was based on Alabama's, obviously, the one loss being on the road at number 7. Ohio State had the 2 losses, of course, to Oklahoma, and then the other, which was a little more damaging, by 31 at Iowa. Alabama is just, the committee viewed as just a superior team.
One of the criteria in your playoff committee search is conference championships. After Ohio State wins its conference championship over a previously undefeated Wisconsin team, with Alabama not having a conference championship, even playing in the conference championship, how much was that factored in the decision between those 2 teams?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's one obviously the committee talked about for a long time last night and again this morning. Conference championships, first of all, are a great thing for the student athletes. Of course, they'll forever be the Big Ten champion. But the fact is that is one of the tiebreakers that the committee uses if the teams are viewed as comparable. And in this case, the committee viewed Alabama as a step above, so that the comparability tiebreakers did not come into play.
Were there any other teams that were being considered for that 4th playoff spot, or after last night's results against Wisconsin, was the deed basically done?
The deed wasn't done until this morning when we finished up, but there were not any other teams considered for 4 and 5 other than Alabama and Ohio State. Well, let me take that back. When you say considered, that's a cool word to use. Obviously, we looked down Wisconsin State, where the state at 6, and Auburn was out of it. Southern Cal got a lot of talk by the committee. They obviously decided to keep Southern Cal number 8. But as far as serious contenders for 4 and 5, it was only Alabama and Ohio State.
You just brought up Southern Cal, who stayed at number 8 in the rankings, and that comes after winning a conference championship and still behind a team, for example, in Auburn that has 3 losses. How did you sort of evaluate Southern Cal's total body of work and why they slotted at the 8th overall spot?
Well, on the plus side, Southern Cal really played better, of course, as the season went along, as they became more healthy. They did have the couple of puzzling losses to the committee. Conference championships helped them to move up, as well as closing the season with those 5 victories. But they just didn't have enough marquee victories by comparison with the other teams ranked ahead of them.
Well, how much did you factor in the Alabama injuries that we expect by January 1st will be a thing of the past on defense? Was that a calculation when considering them for that 4th playoff spot?
No, it wasn't. Not a bit. Never came up. All we can do is rank a team based on what they did to this point in the season. We can't project. It wouldn't be fair to project, nor would it be appropriate. So whether or not the players come back for the bowl game was not a factor at all.
Bill, do you think the criteria changes from year to year?
What changes is the information that the committee has in front of it. What changes is each team's results. The criteria doesn't change. We still think if a team is unequivocal, if teams are comparable, then we apply the tiebreaker. If they're not, then we move forward that way. So no, but I said this last year, and people got a kick out of it, I guess. But every season is different. They're like snowflakes, and so you just can't say that every bit of result from the committee will be the same from year to year because the team's results are not the same.
How much of what was the biggest I think the obvious, and I'm not trying to, sort of jam right to the obvious of Ohio State and Alabama, but what were some of the most spirited conversations? Perhaps it was slotting a team 2 versus 3 or 1 versus 2. What were some of the most passionate conversations or debates that you guys engaged during this morning, knowing that after last night's results, you had a pretty good feel for who the 4 teams might actually be?
Unlike the first 3 years, the first 3 slots were pretty cut and dried. I think every committee member felt good about 1, 2, and 3, and so we didn't have to spend time debating those. And so what that allowed us to do was really focus on 4 and 5, which we did. We spent over an hour on it last night and came back and spent over an hour on it again this morning. Pointed discussions, spirited discussions. Very respectful, but very pointed and spirited. And at the end of the day, we're very confident that we got it right.
With now a month looking ahead, is there until the actual games are played? In the meantime, is this the time of the year where you catch your breath and relax for a little bit?
That's really a good question. But the fact of the matter is that we we put on the championship game, of course. So in many ways, for our staff here in Dallas, our work is just beginning. We have conference calls with each of the 4 semifinalist teams this afternoon. Week after next, all 4 semifinalists will send traveling parties down to Atlanta to evaluate the hotels and the practice sites and the stadium. So this next month is really high season for us. And we wouldn't have it any other way. We're so lucky to get to work in this business.
Well, Bill, I can imagine that after all the consternation and discussions and projections and everything else that goes into the college football playoff, there probably is a sigh of relief, at least temporarily, for you and the entire committee. We thank you for your time and joining us here on Operation Football. I'm sure you've